Great. Well, thank you all for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is our second webinar. We're going to do 5 webinars in total for this selection process this year for the Y&Y Fellowship program. Our idea here is to share with you more about Y&Y, about the fellows we support, about our program, but also to give you valuable tips on how to apply for the program, on how to present to us your social business and your story. So please enjoy the webinars. If you missed the first one, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch the recording. And please enjoy yourselves. Please send any messages that you might have, any questions in the chat. The first part of the session will be me speaking a lot. So I'll be presenting the social business model canvas. I'll be presenting some of our fellows business models. And in the end, we'll open the space for you to open your microphones, open your cameras, and ask any questions that you might have, either about what we're showing here today, or if you have any other questions about Y&Y, about the fellowship program, about the selection process, or anything else you would like to ask us. So thank you once again. Again, I'm Marcela. I'm the program director at Y&Y, and it's an immense pleasure to have you all here. So let's start. Great. So we're going to do a little recap on what is a social business, considering the concept that Professor Yunus talks about. And here I want to just say that there are many different types of social enterprises, of organizations that are purpose driven, but at Y&Y we like to follow the concept that Professor Yunus created. So that means that a social business is a company that has the mission to solve a social or environmental problem. Is an organization that is financially sustainable, so it doesn't rely on grants or donations to exist, and does not distribute dividends to their investors. We talked a lot about this during our first session. So if you want to learn more about it, if you have any questions, you can refer to that recording. Again, it's in our YouTube channel. And of course, there's many content out there exploring more about the social business concept. I just want to make a small highlight here. I understand that many of you have questions about the business model and about dividends and all these details. But we understand that the entrepreneurs that come to our network, they are in the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey. So if you still don't have all the details put together, okay, I never had an investor, so how do I know if I'm going to distribute dividends or not? So you don't need to think about that right now. So what we want to focus is that you have the intent of having a social business. So the most important things for us is the purpose. So are you driven to solving a social and environmental cause in your community, in your region, in your country? So this is the most important things for us. Details about investors, about dividends, all of this will come much later in your journey. So you don't need to worry about that right now. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that many of you asked us during our last webinar and on the Google Forms that we sent. So just a reminder, after we finish this session, you will get a link for Google Forms where you'll be able to test your knowledge. So answer some questions about the concepts that we're going to discuss, but also give us feedback. And that feedback is essential for us. We're always building upon this feedback that you give. And we always want to make things better, make content better, and make it more useful for you. So this is why today we are starting our call talking a little bit more about the Y&Y Fellows. So who are they? Where are they based? What do they do? So I know that many of you want to know more about this. So I just want to give you an overview that you asked us. And also I want to let you know that you can go into our website, unusandyouth.com. click on Y&Y Fellows, and you'll be able to read all their profiles, the specifics of every business that has ever joined Yunus and Youth. You'll be able to go into their social media, their websites, and check out everything. So this will be an overview, but you can go into detail. There's this huge spreadsheet with all their information. So if you want to know more about them, go to our website. Awesome. So here we put a quote from Melissa. Melissa was a fellow last year. She's from Mexico and she lives in the US. And she's just saying great things about us. So she was saying how the Yunus and Youth Fellowship Program was an opportunity to dedicate several hours a week to understanding our value as a business, learning to measure the impact we can make, and get guidance from the mentors to think big. So these are very important parts of the fellowship program. So you can dedicate several hours a week. We do provide many content, activities, exercises, opportunities for you to speak, opportunities for you to share with the community. And again, you don't have to put that many hours. We understand that you can be as involved as you want, but of course, this is an opportunity that only comes once. So we suggest that fellows who join the program really try to separate some hours in their week to work on their fellowship, right? Another important thing that Melissa mentions here is the impact measurement. As I mentioned during our last call, we have a partnership with the Harvard Social Innovation and Change Initiative. We have a partnership with them where in the middle of the program, we have a 4-week course on impact measurement with one of their specialists. And it's just an amazing experience to learn more about how to measure the social and environmental impact of your business. So think about it and to have an expert give you tips and help you reflect on it. And also during the entire process, you'll be working with mentors. So all the activities that we have on the platform, all the sessions that we do live, the group and everything, all the knowledge comes with questions, many questions that you'll be able to ask your mentors during monthly meetings. And this is just a great part. Of course, you have the Y&Y team as a support who is always there to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so that was just a quick overview of the program. We talked a lot about this during our last webinar, and again, if you missed it, you can just go to YouTube, to our YouTube channel and watch it, and then let us know if you have any questions. Remember to submit the Google survey in the end so we know that you watched it. For the ones who watch 4 out of 5 webinars that we do, you get a certification of completion. So I know that this is important for many of you. So talking about an overview of the Y&Y Fellows who have joined our program in the past, and this is specifically about people who joined the Yunus and Youth Fellowship Program. We do have other trainings, other materials, other activities that we have done in the past, such as workshops, weekend immersion sessions. So these are all other activities. Here I'm just talking about the people who joined the fellowship program, either in English or in Spanish. So we have 177 fellows who joined the program. Many of these are co-founders, and that's why we have 173 social businesses that were accelerated during the program. And this is important because you might be thinking, okay, I have a co-founder. Can we join the program together as both Y&Y Fellows? Yes, you can. During your application form, you can let us know that you are both founders that would like to join the program. Or you can just select one person on your team. So the main person who will be our point of contact during the program. But of course, the entire team and anyone that you like that works with you can join your mentoring sessions, can join our workshops or activities. So Yunus and Youth is very much focused on spreading the knowledge. So we are always welcome everyone from your team to join the activities, but we like to have one point of contact, one person that we can direct our communications to. And talking about gender, We have 51% female, people that identify as female, and 48% who identify as male. And then we have 0.6% who identify as gender fluid. This is not easy. We know that in the entrepreneurship world, it's very male dominated. So we do make a lot of effort to have diversity and to give everyone an equal opportunity. So it doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter the color of your skin, where you're based, you have an equal opportunity to join Yunus and Youth. So we do make a big effort to have a good representation of all different people. I'm going to also show it to you how diverse our community are. So as I was mentioning, we have around 27% of people who identify as Black, and then 32% identify as white. We also have a big proportion of Hispanics and Latinos and Asians as well. So this is very important to us to understand that we have a diverse community and we want to make it as diverse as possible. And here you can see the countries where our fellows come from. And you can see that they come from all over the world, but there are still many countries where Yunus and Youth hasn't conquered yet. So we want to invite all of you who are from countries that are in gray here to apply, to join our community, to bring the social business concept to your communities. We do like to have a very diverse community, as I was mentioning. So please apply if you come from any country, actually. But especially if you are from somewhere there's no representation from Yunus and Youth yet, we'll be very pleased to talk to you and to understand your community. And all of these fellows have impact all around the world. So many of our fellows, as we develop the program and as we grow, our fellows grow as well. So many of them who started working just in a city, just in a small community, they have grown, they have spread their activities throughout their countries. Maybe they have grown to other countries. So that's why we show here the impact that the community has around the world. So 39% are supporting people in the Americas, and then we have 28% in Africa, 19% in Asia, 12% in Europe, and then 2% in Oceania. So this is just amazing. Of course, we want to have a bigger representation of the regions that are not, that we don't have so many fellows right now. And you can see that Y&Y Fellows work in all different areas. So they're tackling the 17 SDGs. And this is also an important point because you see that many programs are specific to one SDG or the other, who are specific to a certain industry. And at Yunus and Youth, we have a very diverse community, which is very interesting because you get to learn from people working with the different solutions that you are, but there's also clusters inside our community. So you get to experience both worlds, right? So meeting people working in different solutions, but at the same time, you get to learn with people who are inside your communities, right? So we have 28% of the solutions created by Y&Y Fellows are solutions focused on solving employment and promoting entrepreneurship. We have 20% working with education and training, and then 12% working around environmental sustainability. We also have a big representation of health and well-being, agriculture and food security, and so on. I want to highlight here that we have started this year with Yunus and Youth groups. And basically what that is that we had fellows who wanted to create these spaces for people in the same industries to share. So it all started with one of our fellows who works in fashion, in sustainable fashion, and she wanted to create a space to exchange with other fellows who also work in fashion and textiles, but who are from other cohorts, other parts of the world. So what they did is that they created this amazing space in the Yunus and Youth online community that we have a platform with many content. All of you will be welcome there if you get selected. And they created this group just to talk about sustainable fashion. So they meet once a month. They created all this amazing content, and they are creating campaigns and working together. So this is just one of the examples of how the Youth and Youth community gets together to create more. And this is the exact kind of person that we're looking for, that, you know, that wants to build together, because the Youth and Youth community is as good as our fellows. So we want people to join that have the intent and have the passion to exchange and to collaborate, to have partnerships, and to work together, right? For the benefit of all. So this is very important to us. So I'm going to show you now some examples of Y&Y Fellows working around the world. Of course, again, these are just a few examples of the amazing people who have been selected. And just a few examples of the amazing people who have applied for the program. So I told you that thousands of people have applied. So we're just incredibly lucky to have access to such different solutions and to such inspiring young people around the world. So I'm going to highlight some cases here because I know that you're curious to see what kind of solutions the Y&Y Fellows are working on. So first, I'm going to talk to you about Laís. Laís comes from Brazil, my country, and she's the president of Litro de Luz. That in English means Liter of Light. It's an organization that was initially created in the Philippines. And Laís wasn't the founder of Litro de Luz in Brazil. I think this is important for you to know, that you don't need to be the founder of the organization to join us as a Y&Y Fellow. Laís is the current president of the organization, so she has primary decision power. She has say in the strategy of the organization, even though she wasn't one of the co-founders. And here I want to bring you a little bit about what Laís did during the fellowship. So Litro de Luz is actually an NGO, and what they do is that they have this solution, a very simple and easy to make solution that basically transforms solar energy into light. And then they take these devices into regions of Brazil that don't have access to electricity, and then they bring light to these regions, which is essential, as you know, for people to be able to study at night, to cook, to basically live, right? This is a human right. And Litro de Luz and Laís, her team, they take this solution to many different remote parts from Brazil. This organization exists in other countries, and Laís joined our program because she wanted to move from the nonprofit model into a social business. She wanted to make Litro de Luz become a social business, and that's why she joined Y&Y. Together with her mentors, Laís worked on a B2C solution. What that means is that she wanted to build some sort of model that she wouldn't rely on just donations to make her devices and take the devices to these remote areas. She would be selling something to consumers, so they would, you know, pay for her service, and she wouldn't rely on donations. So this is one case, a specific case, but we've had other fellows who came to us as a nonprofit that wanted to become a social business. So during the program, they worked with the mentors and with the team on creating some sort of financial model and some sort of product for their organization. So I always like to tell this story because this can be the case for many of you. So know that you can apply if you want to take your nonprofit and if you want it to be a social business. Important that you let us know in the application form what you have thought about so far. What are your ideas? What do you want to test? What kind of support do you need to make that happen, so that we can understand if we can actually help you, right? So this is Laís. You can find all about her on our website. Next, I'm going to talk to you about Elizabeth Leahy, or Lizzie, as she liked to be called. Lizzie is the founder of Phoebe. And Lizzie's case is also very interesting. So her business model is completely different from Laís. What happened with Lizzie is that She went to Kenya. She used to do volunteering work there, and she met this girl called Phoebe. And Phoebe came from a very poor family. Phoebe needed money to education, to go to college. And Lizzie was very touched by Phoebe's story. Lizzie was actually Phoebe's mentor. She was working with her and she just got very touched about it. So she started thinking about ways. So how could she help Phoebe and, young girls in Kenya who needed income for education? So basically, Lizzie created this formula where she hires artisans from Kenya. She pays them a better wage than they would usually get. And then she sells this jewelry that they produce in the US for people who are conscious consumers who want to support a cause. So by working with Yunus and Youth, Lizzie wanted help in her marketing. So she worked with our mentors in building a better digital strategy for her business. And with that, she was able to sell more jewelry. And by selling more jewelry, she was able to pay more for the artisans that she works with, that she hires. They got to have a better living conditions. And part of the proceeds of this organization also goes to paying for education for girls in Kenya. So it's just a multi-layer social business, and it's an interesting case for you to get inspired. You can learn all about Lizzie in our website, as I mentioned. Her story is also featured on our blog, so you can read all the details. I'm here just giving you a glimpse, tiny teaser about their story. Of course, there's much more detail and much more to tell about what they are building. Next, I'm going to show you the story of Abhishek. Abhishek also has a very interesting story because Abhishek's business started in university. So while he was studying engineering, he realized that the brick industry in his country, India, had very poor working conditions for the workers that did the traditional bricks. So because he was an engineering student, he had this idea of transforming plastic waste, and then he gets this plastic waste. It goes through an engineering process, and then it becomes aqua brick. So it's just totally cool. I'm just explaining it to you in a very simple way. Again, please go to our website and understand how does Abhishek make these bricks. I just gotta tell you that they are very cool, and I think the most important part here is that by doing this, he's encouraging and hiring people for better working conditions, who gets better wages, who are not at risk when working on this. And this is why this case is so interesting. And of course, I always like to highlight the fact that he started with his university. Many of our fellows come from this scenario where they were still in university, but they were also already creating these innovations. And they needed help to make them grow, to make these innovations become businesses. So that's why Abhishek joined us. So this is a very interesting case. Next, we have someone that I absolutely admire. Of course, I admire all the fellows. I'm very biased about this, but Patrick is this amazing entrepreneur from Ghana. Patrick was a fellow last year. He was actually featured as our COVID warrior. He has been doing an amazing job during the COVID pandemic. Patrick is a doctor, a medical doctor, and he has a business called Standout Care. And what they do is that they take doctors, nurses, and all the medical resources to remote regions in Ghana. So they go in caravans to these remote places where they wouldn't have medical support, and they give this to the population. And how this works is that they do partnerships with several big foundations that pay for Patrick to take the caravans to these remote regions. And they also have very accessible paid services that they provide to the community. So I think Patrick's work is absolutely amazing, and you need to read more about him. Honestly, it's just such an inspiring entrepreneur. Um, Next, I'm going to talk to you about these two ladies, Shubhangi and Jesselina. They are actually sisters, and they were just featured on Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia for their social impact and their entrepreneurship in Nepal. And again, of course, I'm telling you that I admire all of our fellows, but these two ladies are just too much. They created these vending machines to sell tampons to menstruating individuals in Nepal, because in Nepal there's a very big taboo around menstruation, and girls don't go to schools while they're on their periods, and this is very prejudicial to women in general. So they are, by creating this vending machine that they take to schools in remote regions in Nepal, they are, shining a light on the subject of menstrual health, and, saying how important this is. And it's just an amazing work that they are doing over there. Such an inspiration to all of us. I hope that you're enjoying this. I'm talking in very little detail about these businesses, and my invitation is for you to go into our website, learn more about their stories. They're featured in our blog, and you can read all about them, and you can also get in touch with them. There's contact information for all of our fellows. Next, we have Samira. Again, Samira is such an incredible young social entrepreneur. Samira comes from India, and she's currently based in Spain. And she created this organization called Need Lab. And basically what they do is that they partner with governments. And this is interesting because it's different from everything that we've seen today. They partner with governments to create, with local communities, sustainable solutions for housing. So they use the local materials that are provided in each community that they go to work with. They work with the community to create sustainable solutions for housing. So it's just incredibly amazing. Again, I'm explaining here in very little detail. It's just for you to get a taste of what their innovations are and what kind of businesses they work with, and see how diverse the different businesses that we're working with are. And you can go deeper into understanding their solutions further going through our website. And the final case that I have here is for Tomas. Tomas comes from Slovakia. And again, he has an amazing team that are working with Sobi Eco. How did Sobi Eco start? I think this is interesting because many of you might also have this case. It all started when he went to Unleash. I don't know if you've heard of Unleash. It's an international event that gather lots of young people even before they have an idea. Only when they have this passion and they have the interest to solve a sustainable development goal, to solve a social or environmental issue in their community. So Thomas went there, got together with different young people from other parts of the world, and together they realized that they were very concerned about the textile industry and textile waste. I don't know if you know this, but the textile industry is the most polluting one in the world. And Thomas was very touched by this. He had traveled to Nigeria, and there he saw big piles of textile waste. And he was very touched by this, and he wanted to tell the world about it, about how important this was. So he created Sobi Eco. And basically what they do is that they get textile waste, transform it into fabric. And with this fabric, they build, they create several different kinds of products. And these products are sold to company as kind of like prizes. So they do like notebook cases, or these small things, small products that they sell to companies, basically to promote and to raise awareness around the issue of textile waste. And they have been doing lots more since he joined us. Thomas was a fellow, if I'm not wrong, in 2018. So since then, the company grew and changed. And again, you can see more about what they are doing. right now. But basically, when he joined us, he had this amazing idea and he had a prototype. He had a notebook case made of textile waste. And this is how it all started. So just so you know, many of these are already very big today, but they started very small. So today, we're going to go deeper into the social business model canvas. But before we start, I'm going to check. I see that there's many talk in the chat. I'm going to ask the team. So Bia and Renata are here. They can answer some of your questions already. Let me see if there's anything that I can help you with right now. I see that the ladies have answered.
I saved one question for the end. So I send you in your private chat right now if you want to answer now.
Perfect. Okay. So here is one question that was sent to us. So the person saying, so it's not sure if we talked about this in the previous webinar, but does the venture idea have to be a tech-based solution? No, definitely not. Of course, if it is, it's always interesting. But as we were showing, there's all kinds of solutions from, very simple things that people do in their communities to more complex solutions that involve IoT and AI. But honestly, we want to understand, what did you create and how does that solution solve the problem that you understood that is a reality in your country or in your region. So it does not have to be a tech-based solution, or it doesn't even need to be extremely innovative. When we talk about social innovation, we covered this a little bit during our last session. But we believe social innovation as the concept on the Stanford Social Impact Review. And we believe that it's something that is novel in your region. So it might be a solution that was already created and implemented in another region of the world, but for your community, it's a novelty. So that's also social innovation. And that's why we ask you to tell us more about your context, because we don't know it. And it's very important to show us how what you created fits into your region and into your context. And of course, social businesses come in very, very different packages, as I was telling you. So I showed you some examples. We have nonprofits that became social businesses by creating financially sustainable solutions for their businesses. We showed organizations that sell to the final customer. We showed organizations that sell to governments, to companies. So it's a big, it's just where creativity can take you. And here with the social business model canvas, what I want to show you is a tool for you to think about all of these different aspects of your business. Again, there are many, many different tools to help you reflect on the different aspects of your business. This is not supposed to be the only solution, the only option. This is just one of many. This is one that we like a lot because it gives you the opportunity to reflect on very important aspects of your business. So we like to use this model, but again, there are many, many different models. It all started from the original business model canvas that was created by Strategizer, and they have different books going over each part of the canvas. And again, this is a solution that was created after that, and there are many different ones. So here is one that we chose that we think is very useful when reflecting about your social business. And why do we bring this here? And you might be asking yourself, why are we going to talk about this? And the point is because during the selection process of the Y&Y Fellowship program, we want to understand first, who are you? Why you do what you do? What inspires you? But we also want to understand, what have you created? So you see that during the selection process, you have many chances to tell us more about you and about what you do. And here we want to give you some tips on what do you think to consider and to think about when you are presenting us your business. And this works not just for you to talk to Yunus and Youth and not just for you to apply to the Yunus and Youth Fellowship Program. This is useful for you when presenting your business to anyone, from your mother who doesn't understand what you do, to, you know, a professor in your university, to a potential customer, to partners, to an investor, or to anyone on the street that you want to sell your product, your business to, your idea. So this is just a very cool tool to help you think about the different aspects of a business. And when building a business model and a proper business plan, of course, you go deeper into each of these aspects. Here, we don't want to finish any analysis. This is just to bring you some insights of what to think about. And to do that, we're going to cover all of these aspects. It might seem too much right now. I just want you to take a look. We're going to go into each of these sections. So we have here the key aspects of a business model. And to tell you more about this, first I'm going to use an example of a Y&Y Fellow, and then we're going to hear from the actual Y&Y Fellows who do a much better job than me explaining their businesses. So we asked them to record for you their explanation on their business models, and you'll be able to see their firsthand, hearing from their voices, how does their business work. And I think, of course, this is the most valuable part of the webinar, is hearing from the actual entrepreneurs. Again, Yunus and Youth is just the middleman or the middlewoman. We're just here to facilitate connections and to create a space for you guys to meet each other and for you to use content to create action, right? So let's dive deep into the social business model canvas. We're going to use the example of Dafero. Dafero is an organization created by our fellow Lina. Lina is based in the US, and basically what did she see? She saw a big problem of women refugees that came to the US that didn't speak English, that couldn't get jobs, that couldn't get financial sustainability for their families and for their children. So Lina was thinking, what can I do to create jobs for these refugee women who right now don't know how to speak English, cannot get any jobs, cannot have financial security. What can I do? So she created this product made out of dates. And basically now she has many different products. Her business is growing very well. She's selling on Amazon, but it all started with this jam made from date. Which is a product with no sugar added, which is naturally sweet, that is a healthy product, and is also plant-based for the vegans, and has all of these different aspects to it. And I think the most important part of her business is that she actually hires women who are in situation of refugee in the US. These women don't speak English, so she teaches them English. She also teaches them how to make the date spread. She also teaches them many key aspects related to health, on how to produce in a professional kitchen. So she gives them all of this training and makes them ready to get jobs, you know, not just in Dafero, but also elsewhere in the US, so they can reach their financial sustainability and help support their families. So I think this is such an inspiring business, and it's amazing to see how much Lina has grown during the past few years. So right now you see that this is a screenshot from her website. You see free shipping orders from all over the world. So it's just super cool to see how much she has grown and how many women she has supported in her region. So we're going to use her as a business case to build this canvas. Okay, so the idea is that you'll see a bit later when we have the examples for the other fellows, but the idea here is for you to do like just as it would be like post-its and something very simple, just for you to reflect on each of the parts of this tool. And again, this is not the only tool that we can use to reflect on these points. It's just the one that we chose today because we think it's, you know, an interesting tool to cover all the points. Okay, let's start. So first we have what. So this is the first part that we start thinking when going through the social business model canvas. First, we think about the intervention model. So what is the format of the intervention? What will the product or service that you're going to sell be? So in Lina's case, we have the date spread. So that's her product and that's her intervention model, right? And what are the channels? So how will she reach the beneficiaries and the customers? So right now she sells her date spread online, right? Before COVID, she used to sell in fairs and in person. But from what I understand, I spoke with her last week, they're now selling online mainly. After we understand what are we doing, we go to for whom. And then this is important for you to understand who is your beneficiary and who is your customer. So beneficiary is who benefits from your intervention, and customers are the individuals or companies or government who pays to address this problem. So in Lina's case, the beneficiary and the customer are different entities, right? The beneficiary are the woman, the refugee women who are hired by Dafero and get trained to produce the date spreads, right? And the customers are the people, the individuals who buy these date spreads. So these are here, they are different. But in many cases, the beneficiary and the customer are the same person, because you might be offering a low cost solution of something that, you know, would be expensive, but you build this innovation that it makes something affordable for the low income population. So there are many different ways of using this part for segments where you can, you know, reflect on who's your beneficiary. So who's getting benefited from what you're doing. And who's your customer? So who's paying for what you're selling? So these are two different ways of looking into it, and it's important for you to reflect on that. And also, this is a big part where social businesses differ from traditional business and from nonprofits, right? Because if you have a nonprofit, they only think about the beneficiary. They don't have anyone paying for what they're selling. So if you're doing a social business model canvas, just going outside, completely outside the box here. If you're doing this for a nonprofit, you wouldn't have a customer. And if you're thinking about this for a traditional business, you wouldn't have a beneficiary, because they only care about the person who's buying it. There's no concern about who benefits from this in a social or environmental way. After you think about the beneficiary, you need to think about the value proposition. So what are you offering to this customer segment? So what kind of value does the user or the beneficiary get from what you're offering? So here we can think about how the women who are hired get training. So they get important knowledge, they get new skills, they get the money necessary to support their families. So their families get better living conditions. So this is all that comes into the value proposition for the beneficiary. But you also need to think about the value for the customer. So what do your customers want to achieve or to gain from their interaction with you? So if you think about the customers for Lina, you have perhaps vegan people who are looking for a vegan, you know, cruelty-free, animal-free dessert, or, you know, sugar tasty dessert. You could also have people who are concerned about their health, or diabetics who cannot consume, you know, sugar. So you have these different values that people will take from buying these date spreads. Also, you could have the people who want to support this cause, people who want to you know, to show that they're supporting the refugee women in the US, and they are supporting this cause by buying these date spreads. So here again, I'm just giving you a superficial overview on the points that you need to reflect when thinking about your business. If you get selected to the Y&Y Fellowship program, you go deeper into each of these modules. We have lots of activities, exercises, content for you to really test and see if the hypotheses that you are working on are valid. You have amazing mentors who will ask you lots of questions, so you can reflect on this. You'll be able to test your ideas and get different results. After this, we think about how. So what are the main activities that you do? So what do you need to do daily to achieve this product, this service, to achieve this value proposition that you're talking about? So for example, here for Lina, we would have, she needs to train the women. Then the women need to produce the date spreads. She needs to buy dates. She needs to have a marketing activities. She needs to talk about sales. So all of these activities need to be considered, and you need to think about the activities that you want to conduct. You also need to think about the main resources that you need. So either people, either financial, either access to something. So here she will need a team probably. So in the beginning, she was doing the trainings, but as she grew, she realized she needed to hire team members to help her train the women. She needed to hire people to help her with sales, with marketing. So that's how the organization starts to grow. And here is where you think about all the different resources you're going to need to carry on your activities, to deliver your intervention model. It's also important for you to think about the main partners and stakeholders. So who are the main groups that will need to be involved, and will you need any special permissions or access? Here, some partners that we can think about are, for example, NGOs that work with refugees in the US. So Lina could access these NGOs to understand, so who are the vulnerable women that are here, that are in need of employment, that are in need of training, who would, be potential beneficiaries of this organization. She could also partner with, for example, Amazon, as I was mentioning, that she now sells the date spreads on Amazon. So, there are many, many different partners and stakeholders that we need to consider here. And last but not least, how much? This is extremely important for social business. I think this is one of the most difficult part for many social entrepreneurs, especially the ones who approach Yunus and Youth, because some things come very naturally to you. And that means that you know who your beneficiary is. You know what kind of problem they have. You know what kind of solution do you want to bring to them. You are already doing it many times. You're already impacting the people in your region. The problem is, how do you get people to pay for what you're doing, and how do you make this organization financially sustainable? So how can you not rely on donations, on grants, on family and friends giving you money to support your activities? So this is, I think this is one of the key aspects of the social business model canvas. This is one of the key modules in our training, in our platform. This is the big questions that come for the mentors are regarding financials. So here I'm going to just highlight some of the things that you need to consider. So first, we're going to go into earnings. What are your sources of revenue? How much will each represent? Here is very important that we consider that, of course, a part of your revenue can come from grants, can come from crowdfunding, can come from donations. But it's important that you don't rely just on that. So really try to understand what's the percentage. So how much comes from the sales of products? How much comes from the sales of each different product that you might have? How much comes from donations, So how much comes from contracts with governments, for example? So there are different types of revenue sources that you can think about. But at this point, you'll be reflecting on what else can you do. So right now I'm relying on donations. Here's a post-it for donations. What else can I do? Okay, I can sell to, for example, going into Lina's option. So For example, she has sales through online channels. She could have sales through in-person channels, but she could also sell to companies. You know, she could also sell to governments. What else? What other sources of revenue could you have? And then we go to the cost structures. So what is the main areas that you spend money? So we have people, we have marketing, we have the resources, right? The raw materials, the dates that Lina uses to produce the date spreads. So there's these different you know, areas where she spends money. But what kind of percentage goes to each area? It's always important for you to understand your cost structure. How much money does it cost to run your activities? And here we go to profit. So how will the proceeds from your business be reinvested in the business? And here's where you tell us your plans. So my plan is to grow Dafero and to build different training facilities in other regions of the US, or I want to use the money to, I don't know, translate all the content that we have so we can not only employ women who speak Arabic, but also, for example, refugees from other parts of the world who speak other languages. So here, you know, it's where your mind can take you, where your creativity can take you, and also what you want to achieve. You know, how will you invest this money to grow your business and to help more people and to increase the impact that you have. I'm just realizing I spoke so much, and we still have to see the 3 cases. So in case we don't have time for the Q&A, I'll be able to stay here longer, so you'll be able to ask all your questions. So just to make sure that everybody has the chance to get their questions answered. But great. Let me stop right here and see if we have, are there any questions who still need answers, Bia, from the chat?
Just one.
Okay, so grants should be considered in the earnings or never? Yes, they are, especially when you're thinking about social businesses. Let me get back here. When you're thinking about social businesses, especially in the early stages, you need to have some sort of funding to start your activities. And for many of you, this will come from personal friends or family that you will help you, giving you some money to start your activities. But in many cases, this comes from grants from the UN or from, you know, big corporations who do challenges, you know, and help you when you just have an idea and help you start. So grants go in earnings. I think the important thing here is that you don't rely on grants. Your business model cannot be, I'm going to apply to different grants during the year, and this is how I'm going to sustain my activities. You need to try and brainstorm about other things that you can sell, about how to think about products or services that the consumer might need. And the consumer here might be individual people, might be companies, might be the government. So there are many different ways of doing this. But I think honestly, the most important thing is when thinking about, you know, what's the main difference between a social business and a, you know, a nonprofit is this. So what kind of structure will you have to no longer rely on grants, donation, crowdfunding, you know, and just charity. So it's how to transform your organization into a social business, or how to build a social business within your organization. I hope this was clear. If you have any other questions, you can type in here. Now we're going to go into the fun part, that you don't get to just hear my voice. I'm talking a lot here, but honestly, I don't intend on being, you know, the only answer. There are many different aspects and concepts and theories when it involves social business. Of course, here, because Yunus and Youth is an organization supported by Professor Yunus, we follow a lot of his concepts, but Here we are also open to discussing the many different concepts and discussing what social business means to you, what social impact means to you. This is a lot of the conversation that goes on in the Yunus and Youth community. So we are always open to discussing this. Okay, so now we have 3 cases that we had these fellows so generously record the videos for us. And this is, I think, a big aspect of the Y&Y community, right? We have fellows that want to give back. So many of these, they didn't have to do this, but they wanted to because they want to help other entrepreneurs, other young people who want some knowledge, some more inspiration to start their businesses, to take their businesses to the next level. So first, I'm going to show you the video of Kiko. Kiko is the founder of Angaza Elimu from Kenya. And something fun about Kiko, he just won a huge grant from the UNICEF Innovation Fund. We're incredibly proud to see Kiko's development. And here I must say, this happens over time. So Kiko, when he joined us, he didn't have all of these fancy things already developed. He was in the beginning. So this is how you know, because you get connected to different communities and you get access to more opportunities, you grow. So it's okay for us if you're still not in this kind of development. You might be much earlier in your journey, and that's perfectly fine. What we're looking for is people with the potential and with the intention, most important than all. So talking a little bit about what Kiko created, he created this ed tech who wants to transform education in rural areas of Kenya. So basically they will use a lot of very high-tech technology with adaptive e-learning and AI solutions to help teachers in the classroom better deliver their content to students. But I'm not going to talk anymore. We're going to hear directly from Kiko. Also, we're going to share these videos in the LinkedIn group that we have, so you can watch it again if you want to. We're going to share this after this session. This session will also be on YouTube. You'll be able to rewatch this as many times as you want, as you need. So let's hear from Kiko.
Hello, my name is Kiko Moore, the CEO of Angaza Elimu, an education technology company primed to ensure every child has access to quality and relevant education on demand. I'm an alumni of the Untitled Youth Fellowship, class of 2018. I'm really excited today to share to you what are exactly Angaza Elimu business on a presentation on a business model canvas. I hope you enjoy these insights. So when we do speak about the business model canvas, on my own definition, this look into terms of how do you divide your business into granular components and piece them together to have a business. And so I'll dive into this and show you how we've divided Angaza Elimu into the different segments from this canvas. And so what I'd love to start with is the type of intervention of who exactly is Angaza Elimu and why do we decide to build such a business. And so Angaza Elimu exists to ensure that every student has access to personalized and mastery-based learning experience through digital platform, and we've built adaptive e-learning platforms towards this. Beyond that, we look into terms of how do we support teachers to ensure that they can be able to deliver customized instructions to these students. And so our second product, apart from the adaptive and interactive e-learning platform, is what we call into terms of delivering relevant 21st century skills to these students. And so this through an in-demand skills training program pegged on STEAM, or what people say, science, technology, engineering, art, math, and entrepreneurship. And so through these two products, then who exactly is it that we're targeting? And so we go into the segment bit, and where our key target person or user is the students. Beyond that, we're also looking into supporting teachers because we believe teachers are the key ambassadors in ensuring that our platform has success in the education space. We've also gone beyond to look into terms of the out-of-school youth, and this targets the in-demand skills training for people who are looking to upskill, either to go into entrepreneurship or to get into the workforce. So, and how do we get these products to the users? So we do have what we call the customers or people paying for this product. And so we have differentiate these into two components. So schools and parents being our primary customers, and our secondary customers, we're looking into people like corporates, donors, government agencies, and other development partners in the space. So beyond that, then now we kind of look into terms of, now we've looked into intervention. What are the exactly key activities that are measured into ensuring that we've been able to deliver quality service to our users? And we do have two key items into this. And the first unit is on product development, and what others we kind of differentiate into research and development. So we do build homegrown solutions from the technology and the content that we do have. The second bit is to look into terms of, now we build these products, we need to ship it into the market, and that's what we call into the business development. And this starts from marketing, sales, and customer success. And so for these activities to happen, then we really need resources for them. And so for these, as I mentioned, for the business development, then we're looking to get in different business development partners to kind of come in as our resellers or take this product and sample the product, or provide resources to ensure that we build in the right resources. And product development partners, again, and these look into terms of, since we build in technology resources, people like cloud partners, content partners who are looking into deploying their content into our platform. And lastly, other key resources that we're looking into getting funding or financial implication to get these products into the space. And so these get from grant, debt, or capital or equity investments. Beyond that, we look into other key people who would come in as key partners to support our operations. And some of the key partners currently we do have include the UNICEF Innovation Fund, working with us in helping us to build open source resources and funding us for seed round. The second people is the Google for Startups, where we're receiving expert support from Google professionals to be able to build platforms towards the SDGs. Other people we look into Liquid Telecom, whom we're working in the skills-based training program and are acting as our customers. Another key partner is the World University Service of Canada, whom are working in the underserved communities, or what we call the refugee camps, and we're working to support the interventions there. And so when we look into terms of, we've looked into the partners, then I'll get into the market. How exactly do we look into getting these partners or getting into the market? And so these are the channels of driving our product in the market. And so what we do have from the business development team is a data-driven sales, marketing, and customer success team who are very key into our operations. We're also looking to pushing our product through the social media. And in being in the education space and technology space, we're looking into building our networks through educational and tech conferences. And someone will probably ask, then which is the value that we're driving in the space? And so the key goal is to ensure that students are able to get this personalized learning experience and equip them with relevant 21st century workforce skills. And with that, we're able to drive different impact in the space. And we do have key 4 metrics into this. And so the first key metric is, are students really improving on their performance by using our platform? Secondly, are students gaining relevant 21st century skills? Thirdly, we're looking into reducing the administrative burden for teachers and ensure them they're spending more time with students. And so lastly, to look into supporting the parents from the financial burden of buying educational resources for these students and ensure that every student has access to quality education. And for us, now that we've built all that, then how exactly does this piece into the final bit of the business that taps into what are our cost implications and what is the revenue narrative? And so for us, our cost implication for all these activities and building this business is to look into 3 items. So business development, or what we call market development and research, to ensuring that our product is constantly growing in the market. Other key costs go into products. I mentioned we build homegrown solutions for the market in-house. And then lastly, operational costs that support different additional costs into the market. And lastly, then how do we make money? So we do have 2 products in the market, the e-learning and the STEAM product. And each of them has 2 revenue streams, what we call business to business. And here is where we sell into other businesses. And this could be schools, corporates, government agencies, or donors. And then business to consumers, where we directly selling to the parents. So that's a whole snapshot of what Angaza Elimu business looks like. And I do hope that these insights give you a better understanding of what a business model canvas looks like. Thank you so much. Hello.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think it's so much better to hear from the actual entrepreneur explaining their business. Thank you so much, Kiko, for recording this. Again, we'll make this available for all of you. I know the font was very small, so we do have this on the actual board that he created. We're also going to make this available for you on LinkedIn, so you can read the details of what he put into his post-its, right? Into his digital post-its. But this is a good way for you to understand how he presented his social business, how he thought about all the different aspects and components. And one thing that I want to highlight here is about the partnerships. And you know that Kiko showed all these big organizations that are working with him and that are helping him. And I think this is incredibly important. And a big role of Yunus and Youth that we do is to understand what kind of support do we need, and we always try to facilitate the access of you and your social business into this big program. So we are always writing letters of recommendation and helping nominate Y&Y Fellows for further opportunities. So we understand that when you join Yunus and Youth, you're only in the beginning of your journey. You're going to grow a lot. Everything is going to change. You might actually start another business later on, or get a job, or or grow this organization that you're building right now. It doesn't matter for us. The important thing is that you're in the beginning of your journey. Once a Yunus and Youth Fellow, you're always a Yunus and Youth Fellow. You can always reach out to our team, and we'll do our best to try and connect you and support you. I cannot guarantee that we'll always be able to do it, but what I know is that we do our best. And this many times gets you one step closer to your goal. So this is just another part, another aspect of the Yunus and Youth, the community, and the work that we do. We have one more case from Mohammed Kekalov. Mohammed joined Yunus and Youth last year. He's one of our youngest fellows. I think he's 18. He was 18 when he joined the program. And he's just this amazing guy. What he created is an adaptive fashion brand that designs clothing specifically for persons with disability. So for these people who have difficulties getting dressed in the morning, Mohammed tests and prototypes clothes that can help them do this in an easier way. So next, Mohammed is going to tell us more about his business. And just as an FYI, because I know that many of you are concerned about your stage, the stage of your business when you get, when you apply for Yunus and Youth, and you have many questions when clicking in the options in the application form. When Mohammed started with us, he had no more than a prototype. So he had one piece of clothing, he had one dress that he created in university, and he wanted to produce. He didn't have an entire industry, fashion industry, producing thousands of dresses, or anything consolidated like that. He was starting. And this is what we mean when we talk about think big but start small. So Mohammed joined us with a dream. By the end of the program, he finished a crowdfunding campaign. He also got a small grant to produce his first collection. So these are all the small steps, and he's growing step by step. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone has a different time. But I think the most important thing is their purpose and their passion. Mohammed is passionate to solve the difficulties that persons with disabilities have by getting dressed. So this is the main goal of his, and he'll get there one step at a time. So next, I'm going to show you his video where he tells us more about his business case.
Hi guys, Mohammed here from Baku, Azerbaijan. I'm the founder and CEO of Club Adaptive, which is a fashion brand for persons with disabilities. I was a Unison Youth Fellow in 2020. Now we're going to go through the business model canvas for my brand and try to understand how we work. So this is the social business model canvas. I hope you can see it clearly. We're going to go from the left side to the right side on my screen. First, we've got key resources. The resources are the brand, because Kekalove brand and Keka brand, it's a personal brand, and it's not only limited to Kekalove Adaptive, making adaptive clothing, but also we've got a silk headscarf brand, and we've got a civic technology, an app that helps persons with disabilities report in accessible buildings, and they're all branded as Keka. So it kind of helps our brand to be more and more disability friendly and a part of the community. We've got people. I work with very talented fashion designers and ateliers who design and create the adaptive clothing. I also work with graphic designers, with marketers to get to the people that I want to reach. We've got Kekalove website and also our social media pages where we use to reach persons with disabilities, which is another resource. We use this resource to reach another resource, community, because especially in Azerbaijan, getting the community support to work with persons with disabilities is very important. And we're kind of getting there slowly, and I'm very happy about it. Next is our partners and key stakeholders. The American Councils, US Embassy, and British Council are three of the organizations that we work with us and our main donors. Right now, we're working to make sales, but in Azerbaijan, it's extremely hard to be making this kind of business. So grants, as we're going to get to there, is a part of our revenue streams. Next, we work with local disability rights organizations. They don't give us money, but they give us they can give us accommodation when we need, like a venue. They can give us community support and outreach help. And we also work with fashion houses, because these houses are the places that create this clothing. We outsource the production to these houses, and sometimes they give us discounts, which is really fine. Next is cost structure. The main cost of Kekalove Adaptive is the cost of production, buying the clothing and paying people to actually do that, to actually build the products. We also spend a lot of money in research. We try to understand what persons with disabilities need in terms of clothing, and whether or not what we think they need is the same thing what they actually need. And part of that is logistics cost that's associated with both research and production, because always we have to pay the transportation cost of persons with disabilities when we need them come somewhere. For example, if we need them for trying out new clothing for us, they need to come down there, and we pay that because Baku is largely an inaccessible city for persons with disabilities. They cannot use public transportation because it's not wheelchair friendly. So they use cabs, they use taxis, and we pay for that. We spend a lot of money on marketing, online and sometimes offline. People, my designers, and then also these ateliers, they require money, so I pay them. The staff costs and the website costs a lot of money to run. Next is key activities. What we do is we try to sell the clothing we create. We've made a few sales, but these are not enough to keep us, financially sustainable. And right now, our main focus is on building these products, building these designs that look trendy and fashionable, but are also functional for persons with disabilities. And a lot of thought and a lot of energy goes into designing new products and producing this clothing. And next, we're going to be focusing more on sales. That's our plan. So thinking about the types of intervention, our intervention is through mechanical products. It's adaptive clothing we create, lines of clothing, not just one style, but we do many different styles, many different selection of clothing, because when you're talking about clothes, there's t-shirts, there's pants, there's dresses, there's everything, and we do that everything for persons with disabilities, special wheelchair users. Next is channels, how we reach these persons with disabilities, how we reach people who buy from us, is our website and our social media accounts. and community engagement. And that can be both online and offline. As persons with disabilities share us and vouch for us, we actually reach more people and we get access to a lot more opportunities that way than us just coming in and introducing ourselves. So that's a good channel. And surplus, as I mentioned, we're really new to making these sales. So once we make the surplus, once we make excess money, we're going to invest back into marketing and cultural impact, which is advocating for disability rights and disability inclusion in fashion and in general culture of Azerbaijan, which is, trust me, very important. Then the segments are beneficiaries are persons with disabilities because that's who we create our clothing for. But they're not the only people who buy. In addition to persons with disabilities, their families, their friends, their loved ones can buy from us. And also charities and development organizations can buy from us and donate this clothing to people in need. Then comes our revenue. As I mentioned, grants are a source of income for us, source of money. Then there's also selling products. We've sold some products, but we need to work more on our pricing strategy and make it more affordable in Azerbaijan. Crowdfunding is an idea, is something we can do, but we haven't done yet and thinking to do it in the future. Our value proposition is that as a social business, we create fashion for persons with disabilities, for wheelchair users. It's something that is very necessary and that really helps persons with disabilities, but didn't exist in Azerbaijan before we entered this, before we came and said, hey, we've got this cool product, do you want? And then our impact measurement is that we try to understand how functional our clothing is in terms of the time it saves to dress up versus the energy people save dressing up. So we measure the time spent dressing up for the caretakers and for persons with disabilities when they dress up with adaptive clothing and when they dress up with non-adaptive clothing. We compare that. And then we also compare the energy spent dressing up with adaptive clothing and non-adaptive clothing, and then we just compare that. And that's how we try to impact our measure our impact. It sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. And the customer value proposition is that for persons with disabilities, we create fashionable, trendy products and offer a wide selection of clothing for them that really understands what they need based on their disability type and can make life much easier and much more enjoyable for them if they're dressed in a particular clothing. So that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me on our social media pages, and the Unison Youth team has my contact information. They can share it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for this. I think it's incredible to see the social entrepreneurs explaining their businesses. But honestly, for us from the team, the most amazing part is to see the development and the growth from when you first start, from your initial application to getting to a point like this, when you can present your entire business model like this to an audience and help others learn as well and spread the knowledge. I think this is just the most important part for me, is to see this growth and this development as you grow. So yeah, it's just amazing. And again, we're going to post this on the LinkedIn group. Also, if you want to reach out to Mohammed and learn more about Kekalov, you can do that. We're going to tag him on LinkedIn, so you'll be able to speak directly with him and learn more about his business as well. Before we move on to our last business case, I just want to answer some of the questions that we're getting here on the chat. And let me answer them. So, okay, so someone is asking us about can table baking fall under social business category? And can a cleaning service enterprise also be a social business? Guys, anything can be a social business. As we shared on the last session, you can catch that again on your YouTube channel. We also put the link on our LinkedIn group. Anything can fall into a social business. And just as Professor Yunus says, actually, every business should have a social business, attached to it. So basically, the most important thing about the social business is the purpose. So why did you start that organization? Was it to help low-income people in need? Was it to solve an environmental cause? That's the most important thing. The solution that comes from this problem can be a social business, but the important thing is the purpose, the why you do what you do. So anything can become a social business. And of course, we can go into detail of each case. So you could, present to us what you're thinking about, and we can brainstorm around it. But in theory, anything can be a social business. And if you think about banking, the social business concept started with banking, right? It started with microcredit in Bangladesh when Professor Yunus created the Grameen Bank. So if a bank can be a social business, anything can, right? We also have one more question here. Am I missing something? Someone's asking us for the link for the survey. The link is here. And if you see, the link is always similar. It just changes the number of the webinar. So if you want to check out the survey for the first webinar, you just put number 1. For the second webinar, number 2. Y&Y webinar 2 forms. It's always the same scope. So this way you always know what the link is. We made this very easy for everyone. Awesome. So we have our final case here. And then I'm going to go a bit deeper into the application form. So if you get the chance, you can stay, because I'm going to explain what are the best practices for answering the questions in the application form. And then we're going to answer any questions that you might have. If you have to leave us because this session was longer than expected, it's okay as well. We are recording everything. You can watch the ending of the session in a more convenient time. But I just want, before we go into the last video, to take the chance to thank all of you for being here, for investing the time in this session, in learning more about the social business concepts and about the Yunus and Youth program. And let's go to the last social business case we're presenting today. So we have Baba Jidi from Nigeria. His business is called Eco Tutu. And basically what they're doing is that they are developing this product that is a low-cost solution to store food, basically. It's a cold chain solution. This here is a very fancy explanation how they use IoT, and it's super complex how they are going to use technology to provide this solution. Baba Jidi will do a much better job explaining, but again, I just want to tell you in a very simple way what they do is that they help low-income smallholder farmers from Nigeria to have somewhere to store the foods that they grow, so they don't waste food. So it's just, it's a real problem that a huge part of the population in the world has. I know that here in Brazil, we have the same problem when you go to remote regions that don't have access to electricity in an easy way. So having a refrigerator connected to like an electrical outlet, it's not something, simple, and it's not easy access for anyone in these regions. So what they created is a product that stores food in a cold container, and then can help these farmers not to waste food, not to lose the production that they had. So it's just, honestly, it's incredible. And again, when Baba Jidi joined us, his organization was much smaller. They had just a prototype. They wanted to do all of this, but they still hadn't. So I think this is the point, again, purpose and intention. So they had this idea and then they developed it over time, and they still have a lot to grow and, you know, much to conquer. But this is just something that I like to highlight, is that you don't need to have everything figured out. You need to show us your intention, your purpose, your passion. And that's the most important thing for us. So now we hear from Babajiti.
Hello, my name is Babajiti Oluwase. I'm the founder and growth lead at Eco22 Limited. I want to talk about social business model canvas in the context of our work at Eco22. And I do hope that you're able to take one or two learnings from here and that you can adapt into your business. Before I go into these interesting stickers on my screen, I'd like to give you some of the benefits that I have seen from developing a social business model canvas for my work. The first is a business model canvas gives a snapshot, a visual representation of what your typical business could look like, even before you start. So it gives the outlook end-to-end of what you're likely to do, who you're likely to serve, and how you can serve such customer segments. And secondly, before going into developing a detailed business plan, a business model canvas could serve as the summary point for you to even really understand what you want to do before you get started. And finally, it has helped in tracking the progress of my work. So mere just looking at this slide, I can tell, okay, this is what we are doing now, this is what we are not really doing well, this is areas we need to improve. And it just helps us to track the progress and quickly know where we need to improve and move forward. And so now on the screen, the first point here that I usually would like to talk about is about value proposition. And this speaks to, what are you selling? What exactly are you selling with your business? For us at Eco22, we are helping businesses to eliminate food waste. We're enabling farmers and vendors to preserve their harvest and make their food fresher for longer. And we are helping businesses to increase revenue, because whilst we are reducing waste, we're helping them to increase revenue and by extension, increasing their profits. We enable businesses to do fresh pickup and delivery of temperature-sensitive items. And we create complete visibility of co-supply chain end-to-end. These are the values that we sell to customers. Now, who are our customers? That takes us to the next point of customer segment. So we sell farmers and vendors that deal with perishables, and fresh food consumers like you and myself that want our food fresh. So this fits well in the beneficiary layer of the customer segment. Then we have who are the paying parts of the customer segment. So we have aggregators. So aggregators in the case of Eco22 are those that helps in bringing smaller businesses, smaller farmers together and get up fresh produce from them as off-takers. And we are able to provide our services to these aggregators. We have market centers where we have a lot of retailers and vendors. And they are able to access our cold storage solution across these market clusters, as well as we have transport companies. So transport companies leverage our cold storage solutions to be able to serve their own customers by enabling them to move their sensitive items from one point to the other. So these are people that really pay for our services. Now, the next point is channels. How do we reach these customers? So we have our website. Our website is, so for anyone that got to hear about us, or anyone looking for solutions around cold storage, and you just type some of these keywords on Google, we've optimized our website in that once it captures any of those keywords, it pops up on the first search page of your search, especially if you're looking for solutions like that in Nigeria where we serve. And on our website, we have a WhatsApp API integrated in that if you want to ask questions, you want to clarify certain things, you want to see how best you can serve your businesses, it's easy for you to just click a button on the website and it takes you to our website, our WhatsApp platform, where we have a representative that is waiting to answer all your inquiries 24/7. And also Instagram is coming interesting to us now in the past 2-3 months, as we are noticing some trends, especially in terms of conversion to businesses and customers acquisition for Eco22. And it's something that we also want to really get vested in the coming weeks and months to see how best we can maximize that value. Therefore, on the ground engagement, cooperative platforms are very useful in terms of reaching out to larger customer, farmers group, retailers group, vendors groups, across different ends of the value chain that we serve. And these are very, very important channels that we leverage to reach our customer segment. The next point is the key activity. So these are things that we must do on a daily basis to keep the business of Eco22 running. The first is driving sales and patronage. Of course, sales and patronage is the lifeline of every business. So driving sales and patronage is important for us. Managing local market partners, especially here in Nigeria, is also a very important component for us. And creating an effective technology infrastructure. This is also very important for us to be able to provide the value we promise our customers. Timely supply and logistics of fresh items is also a key activity that we don't take for granted at Eco22. Then more importantly, at the backbone of all of this is the customer support service, where we get to be part of a customer journey from the beginning of even getting to know about our product to the continuous phase where they've used the product and we're checking up on them to see how well they are still enjoying the product and services. The next point is the key resources. So these are things that we need to put in place for us to be able to provide the value that we promise our customers. The first is skilled workforce. So by having that competent workforce that can provide the value that we put out to our customers is very important. Our solution is also very much technological driven, and that's where Internet of Things comes into play for us. The idea of tracking, monitoring, virtually end-to-end is important for our work, and Internet of Things comes in handy in this regard. Then also the renewable energy part of our work, where a system which is solar powered, which enables us to provide our services even in areas not connected to the grid. This makes renewable energy and by extension solar an important component of our work. Then partnership with agro producers and vendors. Partnership is a very big thing for us, a very big resources that we leverage on daily basis. Now we're going to talk about partners and key stakeholders. Food aggregators are very important partners and key stakeholders for us. By onboarding just one food aggregator, it enables us to reach tens, 20s, 50, hundreds of smallholder farmers that works with them. And same is for the logistic partners. So one logistic partner is on board, give us access to 10, 20, 50, hundreds of businesses that can have access to our solution. And so is technology partners. So for areas where we don't have that strength, we're able to onboard technology partners that can fit into that role and also fit into our work culture. And this has been an interesting case for us. It helps us reduce our overhead costs and helps us to deliver value at low marginal cost. Then financial partners. The conversion with financial partners is something that is just coming up fresh. So we have a lot of businesses that are looking to own our solutions outrightly, but can't readily afford it. And this is where financial partners are coming on board to provide the financial resources to enable them to be able to own the solution outrightly. Then at the base of all of this is where we have the cost, the surplus, and the revenue. So for our cost structure, we talk about product design and development, salaries and wages, promotion and marketing, and rent and utilities. So just like every other businesses, this is a very important component of what drives us on daily basis. Then on the other end, we have the revenue. So how we make money for the company is one, through subscription for our storage services, for our cold rooms, and for our mobile delivery services. Then we have the delivery fee where customers get to pay per delivery. Then the third is outright product purchase for those that are able to afford it. And the most important thing is that you're able to strike a balance between your revenue and your cost, which is something that I'm very intentional about at Eco, because I mean, this is how we can grow and scale the business. And for surplus that we're able to get from the whole operations, the whole process, we put them back into research and development on how we can optimize our process, how we can improve on our technology, and how we can improve on our value propositions. I hope with all of this that you're able to take one or two things from here that you can adapt into your business. And I really believe that you getting into the fellowship will give you a lot more opportunities to learn more about this. I wish you all the best, and hopefully we get to see in the course of your fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you, Babajiji. He's just the nicest person, right? Thank you so much for explaining more about your social business, and we're incredibly grateful. And again, we're going to post all of these videos on the LinkedIn page so you can watch it again, go deeper into what they explained. We're also going to post a blank canvas for you to practice on your social business. And again, this will be the exercise that will help you better complete the use and youth selection process. So as we told you, we have been doing these webinars to get everybody on the same page, to help the ones who are not used to going through international selection process. So you can get some tips, some inside tips on how to better present yourself and present your business. Because in the end, we want to understand who you are, why you do what you do, what is it that you're doing. We want to really get to know you, so we can select the most engaged and committed and purpose focused social entrepreneurs as possible to join the Y&Y Fellowship. And we understand that there are many more people that unfortunately won't be able to get accepted this year. We want to reinforce that you apply next year. We've had Bochi, one of our fellows from Nigeria, join us in the last webinar. She mentioned how she applied several times. And also at this moment, we have the LinkedIn group where we'll continue sharing resources, and it's a space with many like-minded entrepreneurs for you to exchange. So use that space to get to know each other. It's an important space for you to also to access other Y&Y fellows, learn from their experience, share more about the questions that you might have. What kind of support do you need? What do you have to offer? It's truly a space of connection, of exchange, of building partnerships. And this is all about Yunus and Youth, why we exist, and what we want to do in the world. So honestly, use that space to exchange, to learn, to teach, and to have fun. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the selection process. So thank you so much for all of you who stayed this far. I'm going to talk a little bit about one specific session of the application form. That is the part where you talk about your social business model. On that part, you're going to be evaluated on the following criteria. We want to understand your problem and how does your solution solve that problem. We want to understand what's your social impact, so what the social or environmental impact that you have. What kind of indicators do you have to measure it? We also want to understand your stage of development. And again, we're not looking for the most developed social businesses that are already getting invested. We're looking for very early stage, but you cannot have just an idea. You must have tried, tested, prototype it, went to market, talk to people. So that's what we want to understand. What's your stage of development? We want to understand that you wish to have a revenue model. So you can tell us more about what you have developed and what you want to develop. And we want to understand if your solution is innovative in your local context. So here are some insider tips. And again, we're going to make all of this available to you. Also in the application form, we have some specific tips saying what are, good answers. So, best practices to answer the questions. We are giving you all the tips because there's no right or wrong answer. We want to really get to know you and why you do. So make sure that you put effort into your application, that you do your best into really explaining what you do. So here I'm going to just go through some tips. We have a question there that says, how does your social business solve that problem? So at first we ask you, what's the problem that you want to solve? And how does your social business solve the problem? You can use all of this that we've used today. So go into the LinkedIn group, get the blank canvas, do this exercise of building the canvas, invite your team, invite your friends to do it. You can have an online session with them. So you can discuss all the different aspects. You can use the online post-its. We're going to share with you some online free tools that you can use to do this activity. But it's interesting that you reflect on it. So try to do the social business model canvas by yourself. And then share it with us as well. Go into the group, post your social business model canvas there so the others can take a look. We're going to share these ones that we showed. Today, we're going to also share Lina's business model canvas, so you can take a look and get inspired. But really use this activity to build a better application, right? We also have another question where we ask for the most important measures and indicators of your success. And here you can also use the ones that you're going to include in the business model canvas. So you can tell us about what are the key impact indicators that you use to measure, to understand that the impact that you want to have is actually happening. And this can be things that you already measure. So you can tell us, okay, so I already measured this, this, and that, and I want to measure this, this, and that. So you can reflect on it and tell us all the details. Next, we have here another question that you can also, think about the tool of the social business model canvas to reflect is on when we ask you to please indicate which of the following sources of revenue you have for your organization. So we ask, do you sell for final customers? Do you sell for governments? Do you sell for companies? Do you rely on grants? And here again, there's no wrong answer, like you can tell us what have you accomplished and what are you doing and what are your ideas. Here, one more question. So who are your beneficiaries? Please be as specific as possible. Remember that we don't know you. We don't know your business. We don't know your region. We are receiving applications for all over the world. Right now we have applications open for only a week, and we already received applications for like 20 countries. So we don't know all the regions, even though we have been working with people from different places of the world and we have an idea of how these regions are and what kind of problems we know from what the fellows have shared, from what we see on the news. But it's important that you tell us everything that you know about the specific audience that you're working with. What are the problems that they are going through? What have you seen? What have you investigated? So please be as specific as possible, because we cannot guess. We need to know who are you working with. So please be as specific as possible. And here's an inspiration. Again, Professor Yunus is just an incredible inspiration to all of us. And here's a quote from him that says, all people are entrepreneurs, but many don't have the opportunity to find that out. And that's it. That's an invitation for you to use your creativity, for you to access the resources that we want to provide to you. Go to YouTube, type all these words and, social business model canvas explained. Type that on YouTube and you'll see so many amazing videos going into detail of each part. So the content is there, the knowledge is there. Make the effort to do a good application, because again, we'll only know what you tell us. We cannot guess. You need to complete, you need to make the effort of putting into words everything that's on your mind, everything that you're doing on your daily activities with the population that you're working with. And so we really understand who you are, because that's the only way that we can get to know more about you. So make the effort of putting into words what you want to tell us. And again, somebody was asking here about social media and websites. So it's okay if you don't have a website or if you don't have social media accounts at this moment for your business. This is completely fine. We ask for that because as we said, we have been doing this for many years, and you sometimes forget to tell us things, and then we have curiosity. We want to know more, and that's the point where we click on all your social media. We go deep, we read all your posts, we click on everything. We really stalk you to understand what kind of results have you had so far. So we go into your social media to explore, because we're very curious people and we like to do that. But if you don't have that yet, there's no problem. It's just one more resource for us to learn more about you. And in the end, that's what we want. We really want to understand, all that you are, all that you have accomplished, and your country, your region, your situation, the people you work with, and all these details. Before we finish, I just want to say that in case you have any other questions, you can email us, you can get in touch with us through our LinkedIn group. The link to this LinkedIn group we're going to post on the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, it will also be on the description below. Or you can just type Yunus and Youth Community of Social Entrepreneurs on LinkedIn and find it and request access. Everyone is welcome. And we see you on our next webinar that will be on Monday, May 10th, on the same time that we started today, where we'll be talking about the Ikigai philosophy, which is something incredibly interesting. And we'll be talking about purpose, and we'll be going deeper into you as a person, you as an entrepreneur, and we won't be talking as much as your social business. So thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. We don't know all the answers. What we try to do is bring lots of questions, lots of reflections, and access to content. So we try to facilitate access to all the knowledge that is out there. And we try to also facilitate connections between you. So go to the LinkedIn group, meet the other entrepreneurs, meet former Y&Y Fellows, explore. There's a lot of information out there for you to really get to know us, get to know our program. Send us any questions that you might have. We received a lot of questions here on the chat, so I'm going to stay for a few more minutes if any of you want to ask us any final questions. But again, we're all online, we're all in the groups, and see you for our next webinar. Thank you guys so much. I hope you stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.